like 5 more seconds. There we go. I guess we'll go ahead and start game number 1. So before I really get into casting, let's get confirmation on sound balance. How is the sound balance right now? Looks like music to game should be about right. How is game sound volume and such things? Is that about right? Too much? Too little? I guess we need to do this. And yeah. So yeah, once I get some confirmation on sound balance, we'll hop into things. About right. My voice with game. That's for you guys in Twitch chat. Just let me know. Let me know if I need to move in one direction or another. Lower voice, more voice, less game sounds, more game sounds, whatever's necessary. So yeah, this will be game 1 of the series between Evil Eye as our orange Protoss in the top right hand corner from team, and on the left hand side as the purple Terran from Dragonherb we have Dark Matter. And I believe, if I was hearing Jealous right, these are 2 undefeated players going against each other, and this means that one of these players is definitively going to go undefeated the entire season, and the other player is going to have to take a blemish on the record. So who will it be? It will be interesting to see. Welcome, Garen Dad. Again, if anyone would like to confirm sound balance, that would be super nice. If I have too much, too little game sound, you know, where we need to go with all that kind of stuff. Oh, you guys got to be careful with your caps. This thing, I still need to figure out how to control this thing, but it is ban happy. Maybe I'll stop after the first replay and see if I can figure out how to play with that. So yeah, Dark Matter's proven to be a strong Terran. I'm trying to think of who he's played. I don't know like what his road to being undefeated is. I should have looked that up before the games. You could probably figure that out from going through the match list and seeing who, you know, to see how tough of players they face. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if Dark Matter's faced a super strong Protoss before, or if Evil just last week beat DNH, who is known to be a strong Terran with 2 pretty solid games. So obviously he's comfortable-ish with PBT, and I mean, assuming that Dark Matter's made it here undefeated, I'm going to assume his TVP at the very least is not terrible, but of course it's usually the matchup that Terrans struggle with a little bit more so than TVZ. And it'll be interesting to see how he plays his TVP. His TVZ, he does a lot of kind of, I don't want to quite call them funky timings because they're not really funky, but definitely the popular way to play these days is like +1 5-racks. And from the games I've seen of Dark Matter, he really likes to go for very fast vessels. I've seen a lot of like 1 or 2 racks into factory into starport tech. So a little bit kind of, I guess you could say old school TVZ, but his TVP I don't know what to expect from. Whether he likes to play macro, aggressive, whatever. He's getting that factory up. No Marine yet. Given the position here, I might actually wall this off. But given the position here, he's probably going to be FDing. And the probe is in, going to get off a hit or 2 on the SCV building the factory. Might just be enough to annoy it and have to pull it, but nah, now it's not attacking the SCV anymore. The Marine is out, so that will take care of any probe harass. And we can see he has taken 2 off gas. So it is looking very much like a typical FD, and Evil Eye looks like he's playing 1 gate expand as of right now, just getting his Dragoon in range. So it looks like we're seeing a textbook opener TVP, and of course Evil Eye known for being a little bit low APM, so I'm not sure how long this probe will last. It looks like its days are numbered with a Marine chasing it and another Marine at the ramp. I don't think it has any chance to make it out alive. Oh, and he's blocked by the depot. Will that finish him? Yes, he will. No. Yep. Alright, so that probe is gone. Getting the machine shop. So no real intel from Evil Eye, although he's already seen that there's just 1 factory and that 2 SCVs are off gas, so he shouldn't be worried about anything super aggressive. We can see those Dragoons are going to start to head out across the map. Or actually, I guess he's just going to look for the scouting SCV a little bit. Wants to intercept it before it comes in. He's assuming, since it's here really late, it's coming from the bottom, so I actually like that Dragoon movement by Evil Eye. It's pretty smart. But this SCV is sort of hidden out on the map. I almost am starting to wonder if it's planning to build something. The Dragoon is going to end up missing it. He's really This is maybe a little too far to come looking for the SCV. But I do like this movement, knowing the SCV was not there. That means he likely took the long way. So it was a good Dragoon movement, but maybe a little bit exaggerated. And Dark Matter, whether intentional or not, stopping this SCV here is actually going to allow him to sneak it up to the base. But of course, Evil Eye is ready with the second Dragoon. Now, one Dragoon you can get past, but there's a second Goon on the ramp. So this is good blocking of the Scout by Evil Eye. And really, just nothing to complain about there. Dark Matter is going to get absolutely no information other than there's a few Dragoons out. He will notice they have range if he was paying close attention. And down goes the scouting SCV, and across the map comes Evil Eye. Dark Matter waiting for his Vulture here before he starts to push out. Now notice this Marine arrangement is not very strong for FD, so not really going to be possible for Dark Matter to put on any pressure. I think he's just going to chill, lay a few mines at his bridge, and be comfortable getting his expansion up. And actually, Evil Eye has added a second gateway and is getting an OB, so this is going to make things a little bit more interesting than what we saw before. He has changed his thing. If he can snipe the tank here, it'll be very good for him. We can see some nice micro there, walking the Dragoons back. He's got to be very careful of these mines, though. Does he know they're there? It looks like he's being careful, but oh, he eats a major mine, losing 2 Dragoons. Oh, and another one's going to go down. That finishes off his Dragoons. Those were pretty much... I mean, it was unfortunate to eat 2 mines, but man, both of those mines were optimally picked to finish off his Dragoons, but just a little too aggressive from Evil Eye. And honestly, especially with that OBS on the way, I would have liked to have seen him just kind of micro carefully and not be quite so obsessed going for the kill, knowing that there were Vultures at, mines down. And now I think DNH will be, or not DNH, Dark Matter will be alright, although he does have a little time for siege mode. But there's going to be an OBS and 4 Dragoons. But if he had, like, imagine if he had 8 Dragoons. Like, with the OBS, there'd be a real chance to run in there, even suiciding 1 Dragoon. That's the other thing that Evil Eye could have considered doing there. Since he was pressuring, it would have been an option to try to send 1 Dragoon forward to try to get the mines, and probably doesn't want to fight that tank on the high ground yet. And these Dragoons significantly soften, so there's definitely no chance at this point for Evil Eye to be aggressive, which means he's going to be playing from a pretty difficult position economically. He's going to try to run here, I guess, and snipe a tank, taking a lot of damage. Not the cleanest of starts from Evil Eye. I mean, you know, he's lost 4 Dragoons, he didn't get the tank, and he has a significantly slower Nexus, and on top of that, there is a Vulture in his main base now. Fortunately, Dragoon's picking a good time to spawn, and it looks like he's going to clean that up without too much difficulty. Looks like it might be out of mine, so he's going to pick that up, and as long as he avoids taking any damage from this mine, he'll be great. The one thing he does have going for him is he does have those OBS. He's going to have good intel, know what Dark Matter is up to, but again, if we look at the position, economically, it's a bit rough. I mean, you know, Terran's already mined a ton of minerals from this. He can be starting a third almost before Evil Eye has established his natural. Just not a strong economic position, and given the 4 Goon loss, he's also behind a little bit in army count. But this will be a good opportunity for us to test Evil Eye's knowledge of the matchup, as he is getting optimal intel about what Dark Matter is doing, so he can perfectly pick and choose what he wants to do as far as builds go to try to get back into this game a little bit. And it looks like we're seeing 2 factories to make that 3 factories being added. So this is going to be a timing attack at this point from Dark Matter. Now, the question is how he handles it. 5 facts is a pretty typical timing, but it's usually a little bit more for a Protoss that's expanded quickly. And it's hard to tell if Evil Eye is going to do that. Okay, it looks like he is going to expand, and this will be a relatively fast expansion for Evil Eye, but notice that Dark Matter's factory count is going to be higher than Evil Eye's gateway count, which is usually good for a timing attack, and this is going to be quite a long time before this Nexus actually kicks in. So there will definitely be a very comfortable window for Dark Matter to execute this, and it's possible if he's really dedicated to this, we could see him going up to certainly 6 factories and possibly even a factory or 2 more than that if he wants to be really, really aggressive with it. Now, Evil Eye has the shuttle out, and he is making Zealots to Zealot Bomb, which is always helpful when breaking up those timing attacks. perhaps a bit early on making the shuttle and the zealots, although not the end of the world. I think it's nice to have a high Dragoon count when these pushes come out and kind of make the zealots right before you think Terran's getting ready to go. But the danger for Evil Eye is that Dark Matter can pretty much start pushing anytime he wants. I mean, he's already got, what is that, like 8 or 9 tanks? And Evil Eye just has the handful of Dragoons. And there's already some Vultures in the mix here, and once there's another round of Vultures, that is going to be really effective at dealing with those Zealot bombs, and I think Evil Eye is probably just going to have to run away from this army. Maybe he'll trick Dark Matter into sieging and get a good drop-off, but honestly, this is the kind of army that you can just surround with the Vultures and cause huge problems. Now, Dark Matter's having a little trouble getting across the bridge, but now he's across it pretty well, and he's going to try to Zealot Bomb, but yeah, he definitely doesn't want a Zealot Bomb right now. We can see immediately Dark Matter trying to send a Vulture behind. That's a good start. Already 2 Dragoons are dead. He's yet to get a tank. It looks like there's 1 vulnerable tank, and now he gets a siege from Dark Matter a little bit prematurely, but I think Dark Matter just doesn't quite realize how small Evil Eye's army was and was worried that he was going to get dragged out on the map and then Evil Eye was going to flank with something else, but that is not the case, and it's going to be a really difficult defense for Evil Eye right now, and he absolutely has to defend here. If he can, he'll be in an okay position for sure as he's getting his 3rd base up. Dark Matter obviously delaying his 3rd base for this timing attack, but we can see already Dark Matter has position in the middle of the map. A lot of Vultures in front. There's going to continue to be more and more rallied units. Evil Eye's only working off 4 gateways, and he's already getting pushed back towards his bridges. Nice spread of the tanks to help deal with those Zealot Bombs. Good initial Zealot Bomb, though, but the tanks continue to move forward. He's going to drop a few more. The Vultures should probably pull back and help deal with that, but it looks like the tanks are nicely fired, target firing on the Dragoons. And does Evil Eye have enough units? It does not look like it. Vulture's continuing to be rallied up. Nice, looks like he has his rally point set up here toward the bridge, and now Evil Eye, of course, has lost those Zealots. He may have lost his shuttle. He's still got a little ways to go for leg speed, and oh, actually, this is really rough. He has not started. I just assumed he'd started the 3rd. He has actually not started the 3rd base yet, which means that this is just a wonderful position for Dark Matter to play in. I mean, he can just consolidate this position, take his 3rd base, and just continue expanding. And he doesn't really have to worry about anything, you know, and he can continue to just kind of slow push forward. I mean, this is just going to be an incredibly difficult game for Evil Eye at this point. He's going to need a really, really good engagement, which honestly, given the position Dark Matter's in, I don't know how he's going to get it, or a major mistake from Dark Matter here to get back in this game. Either that, or he's going to have to, you know, pull off something really impressive or surprising, like swinging around and doing a backstab. But he doesn't have tech coming. He doesn't have arbiters. It's just a really, really difficult position. He's running some Zealots in. Pretty good Zealot run. If he can drag some of these mines, it'll be really nice, and those are some good mines. But still, there are 3 tanks out here, and still Dark Matter does continue to reinforce. Now, he's getting to that point. Yeah, we can see he's got, I was going to say, he's got to be expanding soon. 5 factories. He's not going to keep his macro low. Vulture's venturing a little too far up in there. Although, oh, here we go. We got another wave, and there's a lot of stuff on siege here. Almost none of this is siege. This might actually allow Evil Eye a chance to break out. As Evil Eye, remember, he has added up to 7 or 8 gateways, and Dark Matter has stayed on his 5 factories, but pretty big mines going off, and it doesn't look like Evil Eye is quite going to break out yet. If Dark Matter organizes his stuff and gets siege back up, there we go. There's the siege. Next round of reinforcements coming, and not quite as many Zealots as we'd like to see from Evil Eye, but he is bleeding some Dragoons here at this army of Dark Matter. But this is going to be really close. I mean, the mines from Dark Matter are great, but it looks like there might just be too many Zealots at this point. And can Evil Eye clean it up? Nope, not quite. Again, Dark Matter continues to hold. 1 tank remains. That mine could go off, though. Alright. But I think at this point, now that he's gotten Dark Matter back off his front and is macroing out of a lot of gateways, 8 gateways, and Dark Matter just off 5 factories, I think there's a window here where Evil Eye can go ahead and break this. But for Evil Eye, the secondary difficulty here is even if he does break this, which I think he has a chance to, he's going to need to kill the 3rd at the very least. And admittedly, and this is one thing that might end up coming back to haunt Dark Matter, if he gets this broken up, if Evil Eye can break this position, Dark Matter's base is over here at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, which is not as easily defendable as the natural 3rd expansion for Terran over at 12. So if Evil Eye breaks, it's going to be really hard for Dark Matter to defend both his natural and his main at the same time. But Evil Eye is definitely getting to that point, especially with no saturation at this base, where he really needs to break out, and he's going for it. But again, Dark Matter has had beautiful mines, and I think, again, it looks like Evil Eye has enough units that he can finally just power through this, but he has struggled to do that before, and he's putting all his zealots onto this tank. He does clean that up, and no more reinforcing tanks. So now, that's what I was talking about. I thought Evil Eye was going to break out. He is now out, and now Dark Matter just needs to draw back and consolidate his position here. If he holds on to the third base and doesn't get busted in his natural either, he's going to be incredibly far ahead, because Evil Eye does not have his tech out, and of course he's on just 2 bases, so it's just a matter of laying a bunch of mines. This is a lot of zealots coming, but he does force Evil Eye to turn around. He really needs to get some mines down at the front, though. Maybe even consider positioning these tanks a little further across the bridge, but he doesn't want to do that, because if he pulls them all the way back there, then it becomes that much harder to defend his third base, which unfortunately, despite Evil Eye having quite a few observers and a Dragoon over here, he might not know Dark Matter has this third base right now. And let's keep in mind that in the meantime, Dark Matter was adding those factories, so he's now running on 8 or 9 factories, which means that he can now match the production of Evil Eye, and it's not going to be a matter of Protoss just macroing over what Terran has. And someone saying, is a lot of that APM inflated? No, not really. I mean, to some extent, some people just play with more key cycling and stuff like that, but Evil Eye is definitely not the fastest player, and Dark Matter is decent mechanically. But there's no question here that Dark Matter is the stronger player mechanically. And now, here we go, Evil Eye again getting ready to try to move in. He's doing a good job clearing those mines. We can see the tanks weren't really in position to support too many of those mines. They were laid a little too far out in front. If he wants to do that, he needs to get some tanks up a little bit further. But the danger for him is still, this third base is undefended, and if Evil Eye gets wind of it, which he might start to get suspicious here at some point, because like it's going to look to him like Dark Matter isn't doing anything, which is weird, but it looks like, nope, he's just going for the straight bust. Can he pull it off? These vultures are not really being pulled back into the siege tank line. A lot of zealots running into the siege tank line, but maybe too far. Nice target firing again. Dark Matter continues to have this fantastic target firing, and again, Evil Eye can't bust, and now with 8 factories of production, Evil Eye is just not going to be able to run him over that way. Now he has... oh, actually, he's going to be losing this base, and you can still see Evil Eye still doesn't have a third. He's already mined out his natural. He's beginning to mine out here again. Remember, no Protoss tech. Has not been able to tech to Arbiters with that. He's finally going to have this base up, but he's going to be hurting for income here really soon, and obviously that's reflected in the supply. Evil Eye is being very efficient with his army. His trades have been pretty good. However, it's just not enough economy, and Protoss usually wants to be a base ahead to match Terran. And when you're on 9 factories against 8 gates, and you're starting to... oh, and a huge Vulture run by slipping through. Probe tries to block. Oh, but he runs back out into the Dragoon path for reasons inexplicable. He does lay a lot of mines, maybe trying to actually kill the Dragoons, and it works out okay. He does kill a few of them. Oh no, Evil Eye walks into more mines, and it looks like Evil Eye's at that tipping point where he's about to run out of units. All of a sudden, tanks arriving for Dark Matter. Is there anything come out of the gateways? Just a few zealots, not enough. And he says, GG. Dark Matter with a pretty convincing win there in Game 1. But I have to say, Evil Eye did set himself up for that by that early game. I mean, if you're going to play 2-gate obs, you can. It's certainly a viable build. It's very safe. And it does occasionally allow you to be aggressive against an FD. But Evil Eye didn't wait for his obs, and he got really, really aggressive, like almost greedily aggressive with those first 4 Dragoons, and he lost all of those, and then he got his second, his 5th and 6th Dragoon really softened up, so he wasn't able to do any pressure, and of course losing those 4 Dragoons made it totally unrealistic for him to do a double expand. That would probably be the most common follow-up to playing 2-gate obs, is to just have 5 or 6 Dragoons and double Nexus. But with only 2 Dragoons, 2 wounded Dragoons, that wasn't an option, and Evil Eye was forced to play from a really strong, a really far behind economic position. He did well to break Dark Matter's push, but in order to do that, he had to sit on 2 bases, because there was just no way he could afford to do anything more, so he had to sit on 2 bases, add a bunch of gateways, and while he was able to muscle it down, then he was basically all in. Dark Matter already had a third, and the only way he could have won is to kill Dark Matter's third base, or straight break in. And I don't even know if he knew Dark Matter had the third base. Had he known about the third base, there might have been a chance for Evil Eye to disrupt that third base and kind of bring the game back to an even footing. But without knowing about that, and with Dark Matter just being able to get away with defending only it as natural, it just wasn't a situation Evil Eye could win from. Alright, so in the bottom left-hand corner, as the Teal Protoss, we have Evil Eye. And in the bottom right-hand corner, as Dark Matter, we have the Orange Terran, or as the Orange Terran, we have Dark Matter. So, pretty solid Game 1 win for Dark Matter, and he is just one win away from going undefeated in the early stages of CPL. Someone asking about Brood War remaster in terms of esports potential. I mean, in the West, it's just too hard to predict. My gut feeling is probably not, although I think SC2 at this point doesn't have significant esports potential. Like in the Starcraft niche, I think with Brood War HD you're going to see a few more foreign viewers. I don't know how that'll affect Starcraft 2, but in Korea, I mean, Brood War has always been and probably will continue to be one of the prime esports. I think LoL might have a similar or bigger following in Korea. I understand it's big there as well, but RTS-wise, Brood Wars has been on top, and I think will continue to stay there. Remastered should only help that a little bit. But looking at builds for players, we can see a gateway, pretty normal. Supply depot in base, pretty normal. Nothing weird yet. Looks like we're going to have a barracks. For those of you that don't know, this kind of stuff here is pretty common. It's SimCity building defense, and it's really valuable because it allows you to defend against Zealot harass. If you put your barracks just over here in your depot, and Protoss comes in with a Zealot and you have 1 or 2 Marines, you have to run those Marines around really hard to defend. If you have this, well, Zealots can't slip between here, Marines can, so the Zealot runs after you, you take your Marines and just jump back behind here, and then can shoot at it, and the Zealot has to go around, and then you can go back through, and it makes it a lot easier to defend any potential Zealot harass. Now, whether Evil Eye is going to opt for that, he actually is in this case, especially because this is a reverse map. It makes the Zealot pressure a little bit stronger. On a non-reverse map, if you get 2 or 3 Marines out, you're at the top of the ramp. Zealot not going to do much, but reverse ramp, you're going to have that 50% miss chance, which more or less means half damage Marines, allowing the Zealot to be that much more aggressive on the ramp, get down to the main base, and actually do some harass. But with the SimCity here, for Dark Matter, it shouldn't really be much of an issue at all. And it looks like the factory is about to go down, so there we go, factory down for Dark Matter. Probe is going to get a very brief moment of harass before that first Marine is out. We've got a Zealot on the way. Dark Matter should be aware of that. He's had an SCV in the base scouting. Evil Eye is actually, he's going to do a very dedicated slot harass. And it looks like he's going to have the factory up. The only concern here is the factory is a little bit further away from this SimCity, which might make it possible for the Zealots to harass the SCVs building the factory. And if you can delay the factory, that's really powerful first harass, because if you get 2 Zealots in there, you can start to go on both sides and make it really hard for Protoss, and sometimes Terran can't clear that out until they can get a Vulture. But he's got a bunch of SCVs here ready. It looks like he's pretty prepared to handle this, already getting a few hits on that Zealot. Nice pick off from Evil Eye to go immediately for that Zealot, but only delays it a smidge, and it looks like he does want to delay the factory, but it's going to finish. He's not going to be able to stop that, and this Zealot is already taking a lot of damage. As long as he can avoid losing Marines, which he does so far, and continuing to build them, Dark Matter appears to be handling the initial harass from Evil Eye pretty well. Now, if he kills this Zealot without losing a Marine, he is going to be way in control of this game, going to have completely deflected the pressure. And in fact, Evil Eye doesn't even look like he wants to commit to it right now. He's going to be waiting for a few more Zealots, and he's actually going to go ahead and expand off this, interestingly, without a core. Now that is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Now he's bringing up a lot of SCVs here to defend with this. Let's see what he can do with the Marines. Unfortunately, walking on top of the Zealots, which wasn't the start he wanted, but I don't think he's terribly concerned about losing the Marines. He's actually gotten his Vulture trapped in the corner and might lose a few SCVs, as the Vultures weren't even shooting for a little bit, but they do go down. But he trades 4 or 5 Marines and a couple SCVs for those Zealots. And now Dark Matter is going to move across the map, and this is the part that's going to be a little bit concerning, because remember, that core is very delayed. He does not have a Dragoon. He's going to need to pile on wall the natural, and he's not doing it right now. These Vultures are they could be game-ending because he's not responding to this with any sort of pylon wall. He saw them coming across the map. I'm really surprised by this decision. They are absolutely going to be able to get some kills. Now, I don't know why the SCVs also came. I think that is overkill, but he's going to need to do, Evil Eye is going to need to do an incredible amount of time buying time with these slots. It looks like he actually wants to come bunker this, which is interesting, but now the Zealots are forced to attack the SCVs, which is equally as bad. It's just not a good situation. Now the Vulture's totally free to run in and kill probes. This Dragoon is going to pop out, so he has bought some time, but the bunker looks like he's going to finish, and he should get at least 3 or 4 probe kills at an absolute minimum, as Dark Matter just continues to stream units in, and now, does he have mines? No, it'd be even better if he has mines. But remember, range is going to be incredibly slow, so there's nothing these Dragoons can do about this bunker. The only thing he could consider doing, although he's got to worry about Vultures sneaking in, they're both really wounded though, so spawning Dragoons will help clean that up. Oh, he's being forced to pull probes. Can he get another kill in here? If he target fires, he gets another one. So already a lot of kills. Those are finally cleaned up. I think the best thing he could do at this point is try to run past here, position a few Dragoons out here, block reinforcements, and then hope he can kill the bunker off. But with 3 Marines already in it, it's just not looking very good. Okay, he's doing exactly what I'm talking about. I do think this is the best decision possible for Evil Eye. Prevent those additional Marines, and with 4 Dragoons, possibly could go for the bunker, but it looks like he just wants to go for the counter, which might also do something because Dark Matter has taken a really long time to add on that machine shop, so there are no mines. So Evil Eye is going to be losing his Nexus, and he has lost a lot of probes. Oh man, well, he's got 3 gateways. As long as he doesn't walk past these with no mines, this shouldn't be too devastating. And now suddenly there are Dragoons here, and now Dark Matter has to worry about a really difficult defense. He's not going to get his bunker up, and now Evil Eye has a window to get back in the game. So both players making some good plays, but also making some really big mistakes that are hurting them. The Nexus is down, but if these Dragoons keep getting in here and they kill a bunch of SCVs, he can get right back into the game. We can see already a lot of kills going on. He's switching to make a tank, but look how long it is going to be before that tank finishes. These Dragoons are going to have free reign. Dark Matter is going to be taking a major hit to his economy, and Evil Eye, with the hold position goons near the ramp for the bunker, is unintentionally blocking the Vultures from running by. Dark Matter is forced to pull almost all. Oh, he's pulled all of his SCVs. Oh my god, he doesn't have income. I'm thinking Evil Eye is now going to win the game at this point. Maybe he can trap the Dragoons and kill him, but look how bad his economy is getting hit here. He's losing almost all of his SCVs. The tank pops. Can Evil Eye dive onto the tank? That would be huge. Or is he just going to go for SCVs? Are there any last weak ones he can go for? No. With good control, I think he can prevent another SCV from dying. Like I said, I don't see any weakened ones. Although there are a few more Dragoons coming across the way, but there are some mines out, so that should help defend this last Dragoon here on the verge of dying. There we go, goes down, but look at the economy of Dark Matter now in shambles. Mines coming in. Does he have more mines? It looks like he's going to have just enough mines to block. Well, that Dragoon will get cleaned up by that tank. However, look at this, there are 4 more Dragoons, and the money is just not there. He's going to have to repair this tank and hope it can defend, but he's got all his SCVs off the line. And I think Dark Matter is about to be taking an exit here. He doesn't even have any SCVs to repair. Dragoons on top of the tank. Down goes the tank. No chance to live at this point. Economy completely in shambles. And Evil Eye, with his 3 gates on 1 base, will counter and take the 2nd game. So that was interesting. That was basically player 1 cut his tech way too slow and was punished for it. But in the process of trying to punish the other player, Dark Matter got his tech way too slow and couldn't defend. I mean, you know, without having mines or having put down, and he was too slow to put down a bunker, unfortunately. He just didn't anticipate Evil Eye trying to run by in that situation, and that ended up critically costing him the game. If he could have gotten that bunker up, he would have won it pretty easily, but didn't happen for him. So we will go into the deciding game where Dark Matter has picked Demian. Spawning in the top position at the 12 o'clock as the Yellow Terran, we have Dark Matter. And in the 3 o'clock position as the Red Protoss, we have Evil Eye. And as I mentioned before, this is a reasonably significant game, as whoever wins this game is going to go undefeated during the main non-playoff portion of the CPL League. That'll be 10 undefeated weeks, assuming they played every week. They might have sat out once or twice, but still, that will mean that they have not lost a game in, I think, 7 or 8 matches. There were 1 or 2 weeks where teams would have a bye. So yeah, high stakes for this game. I'm not sure if the series itself is critical. This is between team and Dragonherb, and they are both the two teams at the top of the standings. But I think Dragonherb already has their spot clinched because of like the win rates. I think if team wins, I think Dragonherb still, I think they'll have the same record, but Dragonherb will have the better win ratio, and will be advancing first to the playoffs, which in this league's format is a huge advantage because the team that finishes first basically is seeded directly into the finals, whereas if you're not first, then you have to play through I think there's 2 rounds of finals. You have to play through the round of 8. Maybe there's only a round of 4. I'm not sure. But there's a significant advantage to being the team that gets out with the best record, but I think that is already locked up. In this game, looking a little bit more standard for Evil Eye, taking the gateway and the gas at the same time, and here we go. We're taking normal gas timing on 12 for Dark Matter. No super aggressive FDs or anything like that. A little bit more discussion still. Let's see. Yeah, SC2 hasn't been ahead of it. I would agree with that. Yeah, region locking would be silly, but I do think they should reduce the number of servers. I really do think they should reduce it to like a NA server, a Europe server, and then have Fish or whatever, just because that will consolidate player base that much better. Like having US East and US West, in my opinion, is fairly silly. There's just no logical reason to divide players. I mean, if you get to the point where you have 100k players regularly online, that's one thing, but yeah, there are no changes in balance. The only thing that could come close to be considering a change in balance is the removal of the sprite limit. Might make large groups of Valkyries marginally stronger. However, it's very rare to see large groups of Valkyries in competitive play, so it's unlikely to have significant impacts. Everything else is pretty much remaining unchanged. And we are getting a second factor. Oh, Dark Matter is going to go for the aggressive play. He's got one Marine. It looks like it's in blocking position. It looks like he's about it where the crease of the ramp would be. So, factories are up. Marine blocking the ramp. Now, can this probe get it? Oh, it's not able to block the ramp, so that is a big deal. Let's see if Evil Eye sees it. Oh, he's not going to see it. That was huge. Literally the perfect machine shop building timing in just the right place. He does not see, I'm like almost positive his probe went up here, does not see the second factory building. So he is going to go ahead and expand, it looks like. He's still on one gateway. Let's see. This is going to be important for... Oh, he's actually going to opt for a second gateway. I still don't think he's seen it. He did this last time. He did make a few Dragoons and then build that second gateway. So it's going to give him a little bit more defensive power. We'll see if he also goes for the Robo. This is the one case where 2-gate Robo comes out reasonably even if you play this way. Alright, so he's going to go for the 2-gate Robo again. So definitely we'll have the unit counts. We'll have the unit count to defend, but because of the way he's playing this with 2 gates and a Robo, normally if you defend 2-fact, you're very, very far ahead. It's possible to lose, but you're in a very commanding position. In this situation, it'll be marginally better for Evil Eye if he's able to defend, but he will not be at a significant advantage. It'll just be an advantage. So Dark Matter's going to make 2 tanks. He actually hasn't... Either he's already got his Vulture Speed in mines here, or he has not started the research. If he hasn't started it, I'm a little worried. I should have been paying closer attention to that, but I was also looking a little bit at the chat. And, oh, he's going to make a bunch of tanks. This is going to be, like, super heavy. I don't know. I wonder if this will work. This is really interesting. Nothing being made in this shop. I think he's waiting for 100 gas to make another tank. Dark Matter, what's going on? Idling him. This is not good. And he doesn't have a tank coming. This is not good at all so far by Dark Matter, who's not collecting his stuff at all. He's idling in this factory. Dark Matter's off to a really rough start right now. He still has this tank not fighting. He's lost an SCV. I don't know. Maybe he's just going to wait for more tanks and go? But remember, Evil Eye is on 2 gateways, and he is definitely bullying Dark Matter, and I'm sure he's getting suspicious, and honestly, the only other possibility is Dark Matter was only trying to show 2 tanks, and trying to fool him into nexusing, into cutting Dragoon production, and is holding this. So it's possible Dark Matter, with that tank held back, is playing for some mind gaming, but I definitely wasn't good that he delayed the tank for that long in this factory. Alright, so now he's switching in to Vultures and getting a speed in mind, so this is going to be a very late 2 factory with a lot of units now. The research upgrades for the Vultures are going to be fairly slow, and unfortunately the Marines are already kind of getting picked off, and now here come a whole lot of tanks. I don't think Evil Eye has the muscle to fight this. He's definitely going to need to retreat and go back to the natural and defend. If he can find a stray tank and pick it off, that's great, but I don't even know if fighting at the bridges without a flawless arc is a good idea here, because remember, the tank count is equal to the Dragoon count, and in a straight-up fight, the tanks will confidently win that battle, but let's keep in mind, Evil Eye has done this without cutting Dragoon production. He is already adding 2 more gateways, getting a whole bunch of gateways to defend this, and that's going to leave a small window here for Dark Matter to get this damage done. A lot of Dragoons running forward, already getting a nice snipe on the tank. This is really not quite the control Dark Matter would have wanted, and the Vulture's not getting involved now. Can he get in there? Oh no! This is just not going good at all. Now he's got enough Dragoons to get on top of the tanks and snipe them. He moves back. Evil Eye is handling this very well. I don't feel like Dark Matter's Vulture usage has been especially great. And as well as he's handled this, oh, he's got to be careful of these mines, though. Oh, no. This could be shades of the previous game. Evil Eye throwing away his huge advantage, and suddenly Dark Matter has an opportunity to completely change the game. Evil Eye was defending perfectly, but now the situation is different. Dark Matter coming in with his tanks. The Dragoon's very softened up. The only thing Evil Eye's got for him, going for him, is he does have his obs. He does have 4 gateways. It might be enough production especially if Dark Matter isn't getting siege behind this. Now, if his siege finishes and he can siege up with all these mines, it's going to be very difficult for Evil Eye if he continues to reinforce. But, oh man, Evil Eye shouldn't be in this position. Oh, he's waiting for the siege. Now he's going to try to clear out the mines, but 1 Dragoon already goes down. There's still a mine there. He can't just run past that. And now we need reinforcing Vultures. He's going to try to get on top of the tanks, and he's going to drag a mine into the tanks. And I think the 4 Dragoons are going to be a surprise for Dark Matter. The Vulture's just a little bit late, and this means that Evil Eye will break this up. He's going to need a lot of kills with his Vulture. He's not been able to kill the Nexus, unfortunately. This Vulture arriving a little too slow. Mine goes down. This Vulture is going to be picked off in the main. No probes killed. And Evil Eye should stabilize here. He's got his Dragoons nicely positioned at the ramp not to allow any Vultures in to harass. We can see Dark Matter starting his... But this is what I mean by economically. Notice, Evil Eye hasn't mined a drop of these minerals. He's going to have a marginally faster CC, or Nexus, but it's not going to be that much faster. The concern for Dark Matter is that Evil Eye is at a pretty healthy probe count, probably healthier than his, yes, by quite a bit, and that he's gone to 4 gates, which, having already added those, the second probes that he will be able to produce out of 4 gates, which will give him a window, especially with that robo, and I'm curious to see, yes, it'll give him a window to bulldog this expansion, and it will be pretty dangerous for Dark Matter. If he comes in there with a shuttle with 4 Zealots and some Dragoons, the defense could be really difficult, and there's actually a Zealot already attacking this turret. Probably not a bad idea if he can get the turret down, because that'll allow the shuttle to come and deal with these high ground tanks. He's going to lay a few mines, but these mines here will not be that valuable. The only thing Evil Eye has to be careful of is if he does run out of his natural, that definitely opens the window for Vultures to run by. Okay, so he turns around the second he sees the Dragoon out here. So, I don't know, it looks like Evil Eye is going to get away with that. He was starting to defeat that 2 factory so handily that he was going to be way ahead. But now it's, like I said, pretty even game. But there will be a point where I imagine Evil Eye is going to come try to bust the natural of Dark Matter, and that point will be very pivotal. If Dark Matter handles it really well, I would say we'd be going into a completely even game, possibly Dark Matter even starting to work towards an advantage. But if Evil Eye is even halfway successful, Dark Matter will be extremely far behind. Now he's doing a good job here in the interim, laying mines, checking for hidden bases, making sure nothing really bad is going his way. But again, Evil Eye, I think he's got those Zealots done in the shuttle now. He should have vision of this. He should know it's 2-fac. It's only tanks. And here we go. Army moving out. Oh, he's got to not eat these mines. Please. Okay, he's got enough Dragoons that he's sort of getting away with this. But he's got to watch the obs a little better. One of the challenges, I guess, of being a slightly lower APM player is you're not going to be babysitting those Dragoons quite as consistently as someone with 250 APM and 20 or 30% more effective actions would actually be doing. But he is working his army over. Still got the 4 gateways. In the meantime, he's getting a cannon. Well, I guess since he's moving out with his whole army wanting to commit to this attack, I guess these cannons aren't the worst thing. He's made some nice pylon walls. And now here goes the attack. He's trying to get up, but look how many unsieged tanks here. This is pretty good defensive position from Dark Matter. I think he's made the right decisions about how to defend this. The Dragoons can get in the natural, but the damage from the shuttle is limited, and Evil Eye is forced to immediately back out. So that I have to give all credit to Dark Matter too. That was very smartly handled. I don't know if he knew the shuttle was there or anticipated it, but to just use the cliff like that in the position that he was in and leave all those tanks unsieged, you just can't play it better. That was perfectly read, perfectly executed by Dark Matter. That was a really, really good defense. So he avoids the most dangerous part of the game, and now we should transition into a reasonably even mid-game, and now we're just interested in what is Dark Matter's game plan. He's going to go up to 5 factories, which suggests aggression. How fast? Someone asking about Evil Eye's low APM. Basically, it just kind of depends player by player, much like any other sport. You know how like basketball or any other sport, soccer, you can be really good at ball handling, but maybe you're not good at shooting or defending. It's kind of the same thing in Brood War. You can have really good decision making, you can have really good micro, you can have really good macro, you can have really good multitask. In the case of a player like Evil Eye, he's got good strategy, he's got pretty good builds, but he's just not a super fast player. So like any area, yes, it's something that can be practiced and improved, and it could yield dividends, but at his current playstyle, that's just where he's at. He's got other parts of his game, like I said, I mentioned he's undefeated so far in this league, so obviously for this league, he's a strong player, and it's not like this league has players that have never played Brood War. Most of the players in here are at least somewhat experienced, and he's able to be extremely successful against them, so it's not like what he's doing is wrong, but certainly APM or multitask or mechanics or whatever you want to call it, is an area that could be better for Evil Eye. And now he's bringing up the rest of his army, and Dark Matter's moving across with this 5 fact. Now, Evil Eye's got like 8 gateways, and he's got the 3rd base set up, so I think Dark Matter's more or less missed his timing. All Evil Eye has to do is buy a little bit of time, not let Dark Matter get a really established position. Unfortunately, throwing away a lot of vultures, not a good start at all. But as long as he doesn't let Dark Matter get a really established position, or take some really bad engage, as long as Evil Eye doesn't have some really bad engage, then he's just going to roll over this push and take the game after that. And honestly, he might have enough units to do right now. This is not the best attack formation, kind of in a line, but he might be able to muscle it down, although a lot of these zealots are getting blocked off, although this is a ton of zealots, and now he's got a lot on top of the tanks. He's lost most of his dragoons, though. A large reinforcement of vultures could be good, but I don't know, he's unsieging. That means no more damage will be done, and pretty much what I said, just too much macro, 8 gates, 5 facts, hard to make it work, and now Dark Matter is going to need a miracle defense, and even then he's going to be playing, although I don't know what Evil Eye is doing with these zealots. Maybe he won't need quite as miracle defensive as I thought, but he's still in danger of getting overrun, especially if he throws zealots into this army. Nice little zealot here to clear out the mines, but look at this, there's not a single tank back in here. Very dangerous position. He's going to lose his obs, which will make the mines a little bit more effective. That frontal turret is proving to be worth its weight in gold. But there's going to be constant reinforcements streaming up. He's got cannons to deter these small numbers of vultures. If this was 12 vultures on the map, it could be scary, but he is working his way in here. He can definitely sneak over to the side, start to target some SCVs. Finally, a tank is out, but again, it's not going to be able to stop him shooting over at this side, and this is just really disruptive, which is not good at all, and it's especially not good when you are in... Oh, he's trying to drag with that, drag the mines into the SCV. He's not quite able to get it, but look at the damage going on in the natural. Even if Protoss trades unfavorably, the disruption in the economy from a 3-base Protoss against a 2-base Terran is a huge win right now. And we can see that the supply for Dark Matter is falling precipitously. He's not even able to mine off this base right now. He's losing SCVs. He's bringing this tank down. He'll probably lose it to these Dragoons. Yes, he will lose 1 tank. And in the meantime, Evil Eye is just going to mass 1 more army. And it's just going to be so hard for Dark Matter to defend. The problem now is if he really wanted to at home, he could dig in his heels. He could wall this shit off, build a few more turrets. He could definitely live a bit longer. but he's gotten to the point now where he's so far behind and hurting economically that securing his own third base, which would be essential. I mean, he's not going to be able to attack Protoss. Evil Eye's got an army advantage already, in addition to far more gateway count. There's just no way he can possibly attack. The only way he can continue the game is to get a third base, but if he digs in his heels, he's not going to be able to really establish that third base. I mean, Evil Eye could just start recalling here reasonably soon, and he doesn't even need effective recalls. If he just recalls on top of the SCVs, the tank fire will kill the SCVs, and Dark Matter is hurting so badly economically that it's just... It would take a massive blunder at this point, I think, from Evil Eye for Dark Matter to get back in this game. You know, short of letting him have free bases, letting him have his third for free, something like that, are the only ways that Dark Matter realistically could get himself back into this game. And it looks like Evil Eye is now moving up across the map. You can see, I mean, that's sort of what Evil Eye, or what Dark Matter's doing. He's built this CC here to act as a wall. He's heavily turtled in the natural. I still think he needs a few more cliff tanks. Definitely could have more mines. But he's at that point where he's about to have a whole fistful of Protoss shoved down his throat. Evil Eye's established his fourth, so he's going to stay on that super nice 3-base mining economy. You know, I have to give Dark Matter credit. He is very active with his vultures. I really do like that, but Evil Eye has positioned himself pretty well to deal with those vultures, and now he's just at a really strong position. Definitely has a very large army. He's got a pretty good probe count, 20 more probes than Dark Matter has SCVs, and it's going to be Dark Matter's trying to take his third, but it's going to be super hard. I mean, he's only got 2 tanks up here against this large 150 supply Protoss army, because he can't afford to take all these tanks out of the natural, because then Evil Eye can just walk around and counter the natural, which he still might do. And it looks for the moment like Evil Eye isn't quite ready to commit to attacking either position, instead opting just to stabilize his large economic advantage. And whoa, this command center really needs to come back. He needs to land this really fast. But I think with that command center not landed, Evil Eye isn't that worried right now. He should have his arbiters in production now. He's getting immediately to recall, which I think is good in this situation because Terran is not going to be pushing out anytime soon. So getting that first recall, that's going to give him options to hit that third base. And yeah, so not much Evil Eye needs to do at this point. Although here, sometime soon, he'll need to have a response to this once it starts mining. I think, you know, although he could still almost certainly win the game, you know, because if you look at it, Terran's starting to mine out here. Terran's already mined out in his main. You know, even if you let Terran have third base, he can still definitely win the game, and he'd still be hugely ahead. But if he just shuts that down, he'll win outright. And it's not like Terran has thrown up a billion turrets to block every option off. I mean, there's a nice wall here, but there's just a lot of options available to Evil Eye. Although every second that goes by does allow Dark Matter to get a stronger army out, and it's starting to become strong enough now that Evil Eye can't bust the natural. 2 minutes ago, yeah, he could have walked in and busted the natural, but at this point, I'm not so sure he could pull that off with all those tanks there. So we got arbiters. We got one arbiter already out. That'll probably be a recall arbiter. He's getting his energy now. A lot of times I think players prefer to actually get energy first because arbiter research energy time is just a smidge faster than your first arbiter builds, which means that when the arbiter finishes, it will start with more energy, and you'll still be able to research stasis before you'd hit 100 energy. So it basically gives you a marginally faster first stasis and or first recall. So yeah, that's the thought on that. If you're doing arbiters, research energy first, then grab stasis. The only time I would say you should grab recall first is if you're in a position like this where you're quite far ahead and Terran doesn't really have any good opportunities to attack. Although Dark Matter has, considering he's down double supplied, he's amassed a surprisingly strong army, and it is low. He's low in SCVs, so this army is a little bit bigger than a typical 140 Terran supply army. It's the kind of army that if Evil Eye doesn't engage it right, Dark Matter could definitely take a convincing engagement, and that does give him a path to get back into this game. I hope these are on hold position. Oh, if this whole group... Okay. So Evil Eye does react quickly, and now he will need to reposition himself. He's got 2 arbiters out. He's got a maxed army. So, I mean, he's got a big army in his own right. And the big issue will come with reinforcements. Dark Matter doesn't have money to reinforce like crazy. Evil Eye has a bunch of bases and gateways at another base. And Dark Matter on this current 3 bases, he only has 1 push. He's setting out a very solid position. However, at this point, oh, and look at this, he's feeling very confident, going to go straight for the recall, so goodbye mining for Dark Matter. So this is the last army from Dark Matter. And the problem here that makes this game so hard for Dark Matter is if Evil Eye just had, 3 bases or 4 bases, it'd be alright, but if he just sits here, even if he just sits here and slow pushes to the natural, Evil Eye is going to be building gates at other bases. Well, let's see how this engagement goes. These Zealots are going to get shredded. This is going to go really, really badly for Evil Eye. Just not enough units here. We can see the tank line is thick and deep, and he's immediately forced back. But, Dark Matter is more or less done mining. So Evil Eye can just continue to attack and whittle down this army, and it's going to get reinforced very slowly, and with other bases, if he can't just sit here, he really needs to go shut down almost all of Evil Eye's mining right now, or Evil Eye is just going to keep outproducing him, and this is not nearly as good of a position for Dark Matter. He's got a lot of unsieged tanks, but he's scaring Evil Eye enough to come back. But look at this. These tanks are getting clumped in these choke, and there's double stasis here for Evil Eye. He can take out most of the tanks from the battle, and those are 2 pretty good stasis. Will he come back in and flank with this army? It doesn't look like he's quite doing that yet, but it looks like he's cleared it out, and Evil Eye will be your winner 2-1 over Dark Matter. And that didn't quite turn scary, but it was close to turning scary for Evil Eye, which is why, honestly, with the advantage he had, I think the best decision would have been to just go and straight up kill Dark Matter when he was trying to take his 3rd base. He had the unit count to do it. I think sometimes it's you're a little bit worried to do that against Terran. You don't always have perfect vision. You don't know exactly what's back there. But he would have avoided that position. I mean, you could still see he was very far ahead. He had the recall. He used that nicely. And was able to finish the game off just fine. But if anything had gone wrong, like if that recall would have gotten blocked, Evil Eye could have had a tougher time. Each one of those little things allows Dark Matter to, get back into the game just that little bit more. And you add up 2 or 3 of those things that go Dark Matter's way, and all of a sudden he's back in the game. All right, so that is our first series. So now we'll be going to the next series, which features Fozik against Grissy. So spawning in the top left-hand corner as the orange Terran, we have Fozik. And in the bottom right-hand corner as the yellow Protoss, we have Grissy. And I'll be honest, I don't know a thing about Grissy. I'm just watching, I'm curious to see how he is. I don't know anything about his play. It's a player I haven't heard of. And then Fozik he doesn't have the best record in the league, but he does have the highest rank. I think he's the only player in the league to have achieved C+ on IC Cup. Evil Eye, I don't know what he means, but he says, Dark Matter is an amazing player. I was rooting for him, despite the fact he was playing against them. I find that hard to believe. What I find less hard to believe is these strawberries are absolutely delicious. So, everything looking normal for Grissy so far, but again, no idea what to expect from him in terms of play. I think we'll have to see a bit more to start to get a feel for that. I mean, he's spamming APM. He's responding pretty quickly, sending his probes to mine. No idle moments there. So suggesting at the very least he's not really new. But I think we'll have to go a bit further to really get a feel for how strong he's going to be. And unlike Dark Matter, where I didn't know, I know that Fozik is significantly less comfortable in TVP than he is in TVZ. He feels incredibly confident in his TVZ, but I think his TVP he only has like marginal confidence in. So if there's a good matchup for him to lose, it would definitely be this one. And so far, everything looking pretty damn standard for both players. Yeah, this is from last week's games. You'll have to admit, one thing that's always amazing to watch to me is viewer counts between games. Like, the second a game ends, you almost always drop by like a decent percentage, like 20-30% viewers, which is interesting because like everybody knows you're casting like an entire series, you're going into another game. Like it always surprises me that all those people leave. Like I kind of understand if you're like just watching a stream and there's an entertaining game going on and you leave, but like in the middle of a cast where you're like watching a whole series, it always surprises me how many people leave and then come back. Oh, and going past each other, we've got the core for Protoss, factory for Fozic, and 2 off gas, so it doesn't look like Fozic's planning to 2-fact. Looks like he's looking at a pretty typical FD opening. That's something as a Protoss, if you do get a scout in, you can watch for and see how many SCVs Terran has on gas. If Terran is opening, keeps 3 on gas, they're either doing more of an old school like Siege Expand style, or it means there's a decent chance they're going to do double factory attack or factory port vulture drop. This is CPL, the Coach-Pupil League. So it's basically a tournament for D and C ranked IC Cup players, a team tournament. The format basically ranking tour and then coaches draft players. There are X number of teams with X number or 2X number of coaches, a coach and an assistant. And then there was like I forget how long it was, 4 week, 6 week, a little bit of Nexus denial there. 4, 6 week, 8 week practice period where coaches specifically worked with players to get better, reviewing games, all that kind of stuff. And then it was a 10-week league where the practice could continue, but the actual league game started, and then it ends with a playoff starting next weekend. And Fozic, knowing the Dragoons were over there, feeling confident to bring those Marines down into natural, going to have his first tank out. And he is getting mine, so again, very, very typical FD opening. This is absolutely the go-to bread and butter standard opening these days. And honestly, I think it's the best opening. I mean, Siege Expand used to be more popular. You don't see it as much anymore. And it used to be thought of as the quote-unquote safest opening. But in truth, I don't really think it's safer because, you know, FD has several advantages over Siege Expand. Number one is it gets a little bit of map control. You can lay mines. You see what's going on much better. But the second big advantage, I think, over FD is those early mines. You know, before, if you went Siege Expand and you just didn't anticipate Protoss making DTs or something like that, you were stuck with a couple sieged up tanks and no detection of any sort. Whereas if you do FD, Protoss is going to have DTs, and they're going to have to use those DTs to fight your FD, which gives you ages to mine up and defend your base. And even if you get surprise DT dropped, well, you've got vultures that you can lay mines with to help defend those DTs while you're buying time if you got caught with your pants down and don't have detection in the right places. Now, Fozic is being awfully aggressive with this. This is 5 Dragoons, although perhaps they don't have range. Okay, they do have range, I'm assuming. Looks like Grissy is... I'm thinking this guy's a reasonably solid Protoss. He's just that's enough for me to know that he's going to be a decent match here for Fozic. That was pretty much what you'd want to do. Micro-wise, knowing to split off a goon, keeping the macro money down while that engagement was going on. So, yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of him, but it looks like he's a fairly solid player. He's looking for mines. He's trying to keep his bridges clear, which is smart because some Terrans will, if you let them have mines here and you have too late of obs, they will just go to like 4 or 5 factories and start setting up a position here. And then from there, it's just a short, easy, slow push right into your natural. And you're like, oh shit, I'll just let them have a free, super, super fast timing attack with no delaying on my end. Coming over here to clear this out. There are 2 mines, which I actually like. We'll see if he just sends one vulture to run through. Okay, so that Dragoon is going to go down. And this Dragoon will not go down, but he will have to eat that mine if he wants to build the Nexus. I think he's just going to put it on the ramp for now. But he will have to pull it back here at some point if he wants to build that Nexus. But we can see a very, very fast... Whoa, I didn't even realize that. So, Fozic... basically playing what looks similar to a mine double expand, which is where you'd go one factory and then double expand with vultures and mines. Perhaps sensing the slow obs. Although, where is his obs? Yeah, it definitely is a slow ob. So, I mean, this is looking like it's going to work out for him, and this is going to be a really tough position for Grissy to play from. I mean, this CC is insanely fast. It's done almost before Protoss starts his third base, and when Terran is that far ahead economically, oh man, just all your timings you want. Like, you might not even be maxed before Terran moves out. You'll be just getting your tech out. You definitely won't have gateways at another base, because, like, for Protoss, in an ideal situation, if you haven't killed Terran and you're playing like super macro game, you're gonna max with 5 bases, and you're gonna have arbiters out, probably Templar out, and you're gonna have 7, 8, 10 gateways up at an additional main before Terran moves out. That's like the ideal move out. Anything less than that becomes more and more difficult. And in this case, if Fozzik macro as well, basically Fozzik's going to be coming out with an equal supply army to Grissy, and Grissy will be on just 3, maybe 4 bases with no additional gateways, which means it becomes incredibly important to not botch the first engagement. And we can see right now Grissy is maintaining just a very marginal supply lead, and with that third base up for Fozzik, that is likely to start to swing more and more into Fozzik's favor. And look at the difference in economy right now. Grissy is only on 40 probes, whereas Fozzik has already hit 50 SCVs. He's going to take a quick break here to start adding his scanning. And looking at the play from Grissy, there's nothing... Oh, what? I have no idea what happened here. But, yeah. Apparently he killed off his pylon. I did hear Dragoons attacking something, but there were no Terran units, so I assumed it was like a misclick. But apparently, I guess he was probably blocking something with his pylon. But either way, he doesn't have a shuttle, so there's no way for him to be aggressive. So Fozzik is completely gonna get control of this base, completely unmolested. Gonna go straight into all of his tech, everything he wants. He's already getting that armor upgrade, and it's just gonna be a very challenging position for Grissy to play from. We'll see how he handles it. And also, when Terran expands this fast, when Terran expands this fast, it's one of those things where, a lot of times as Protoss, Terran takes a normal timing third, you can just comfortably take a 4th and 5th base, pretty quickly off 5, 6, 7 gates and eco up just fine. But if he were to just try to do like 5 to 7 gates and take a 4th and 5th, he's going to have such a low supply when Fozzik comes out that he'll have no way to defend the push. So it's going to force him to play a little more heavy on macro off 3 bases before getting those expansions, and that results in not having those gateways at the additional mains. Nice goon positioning though. Fozzik running here with a few vultures, absolutely not going to get anything done. But even donating those vultures, you can see Fozzik is continuing to match the supply here for Grissy, who's getting a forge. He's getting his citadel up. He's got a Stargate. He needs a Templar Archives. So he's going to have okay arbiter timing, not crazy fast, but he's going to have okay arbiter timing. Fozzik has hit that pretty healthy number of SCVs. He's even getting a dropship out to harass with, and getting away with just 1 tank here. I mean, Fozzik more or less getting away with murder in this game. And right now, how is Grissy looking to handle this? He's adding more gateways, and he is getting his tech, but it looks like right now he's just going to play a little bit off 3 base. Ooh, dropship going to change, killing that mine nicely, giving Fozzik an idea, a nice little scan there just to make sure he's safe to move over with the dropship. And of course, the Dragoon is walled out, so drops the tank here, puts his vultures over here, definitely can get a few probe kills. We'll have to see how Grissy's reaction is, especially with nothing else happening right now. Alright, here's that. Dropping the tank, vultures, pretty good reactions. Looks like he'll lose 4 or 5 probes, but that's not terrible. I mean, you could see it a smidge faster, but that wasn't bad. And now, his probes are accidentally walling out his Dragoons. So, gonna take a little bit of damage on the Nexus, and you can see the second that happens, Fozzik actually taking the supply lead. Very scary position as a Protoss. Tank is up to a lot of kills, up to 5 kills. And patrolling these goons, I guess. And finally, he can get over here if he ever moves these probes out. This is just I think he's maybe worried about what's going on over here. Oh, he's actually got taken the dropship and dropped a few in the main. That's why Grissy's not noticing the Dragoons bugging out at his third base. And he's going to get a few probe kills in here, although maybe he got more than a few. Because that Vulture did have 8 kills. Oh! Oh, the tank actually didn't get any kills out of that. But, oh man, that was close to being... It was at 5 kills before, but that was close to being a terrible mine that would have killed 4 or 5 more probes. But now Fozzik is 10 supply ahead. He's actually just looking to flat out take a 4th base, I think. Starting to get a big army. Oh, this is gonna be some fucking painful pathing. I hope he kills this depot off. See, his tanks are not gonna go around it at all. If these even, I can't tell. Maybe he's not trying to get his tanks out there. Maybe he's just putting some vultures out in front. But he's got his vessel. He's got one attack, I think. I do like the Templar tech added in there. Money storms against something like this would absolutely be worth it. He's getting a recall first. Oh, that could be so dangerous. Because let's face it, I mean, Fozzik's at 150 supply. He's got a boatload of siege tanks. He's actually got almost a 4 control group army, which is definitely big enough to be dangerous. He has chased away the SCV, forced to cancel on the CC, which is nice, but he's only just now getting a 4th base. Only just now getting a 4th base. And he's actually got a lot of Dragoons split up from his army, too. I mean, that's 6 Dragoons, which is quite a few, and there's just very, very few Zealots right now in the composition. But now Fozzik is approaching max, and it's going to be exactly the situation I was talking about. Terran maxing slightly before you do, and you don't even have additional gateways or anything. Going to come over here, I guess, clear this base out, and then I think we're going to see Fozzik move towards Grissy's base. And Grissy's going to be like, oh shit, yeah, we can see now he's going to start bringing those Dragoons back. He's like, oh, I'm about to get attacked. Hotkeying up the army, making sure it's ready to go, getting it out across those bridges. As Fozzik has announced the warning shots that it is time for battle. Look at this army. It is very scary. It's going to have like almost 2.5 groups of tanks in it when it's done. 1-0 here. Fozzik is at 1-0. He might be waiting for 2-1. Beautiful upgrade timing. I mean, you know, Fozzik is just playing very solid so far. Not much else to say about it. Grissy clearing out a few mines. The only thing Fozzik could maybe have going a little bit better is a few more mines this way to prevent the counterattack. Now, we do have a Zealot drop, which is going to annoy Fozzik. But if he just diverts some reinforcements, I think he's going to be okay. Shouldn't be a big deal. And honestly, yes, I mean, when some of those units are clumped, 1 stasis can get a lot of tanks, but still, you're really not going to get more than 7 or 8 tanks. And, oh, this is so bad for Grissy. Like, this army has walked in here totally uncontested. And look at this positioning of these siege tanks. This is a beautiful siege tank line right now. Just lined up. I mean, this is Protoss attacking to an arc. It's going to funnel him. This is a horrible angle. Grissy has to recognize this and back out, but no, he is getting murdered there. He's trying to get some good storms off, and there were some good storms, but his army just got absolutely murdered. There are vultures all up in the natural, and Fozzik in one fell swoop has taken this game. Oh man, that was just Grissy badly outmaneuvered there. I mean, if Terran gets that kind of setup, it's just, there's nothing you can do. And the fact that Fozzik was allowed to walk all the way down there, I mean, Grissy was in a tough spot to begin with, but to let Fozzik walk all the way down there, it was just, that was rough. Played a decent game outside of that, but huge errors at the end cost him any chance he had, or would have had to possibly try to win that game. So, after a dominant Game 1 win, using greed, we have Fozzik in the bottom left, and in the bottom right-hand corner, as the Brown Protoss, we have Grissy from Team Drag and Herb. Not even able to get a recall off, such was the speed of Fozzik's economy that he was maxed and attacking before there was enough energy on an Arbiter for a single recall. How Fozzik will play Game 2, I don't know. I mean, I have honestly not observed Fozzik's TVP very much, so I don't really know what he likes to play. Obviously, that was a very macro-centric game. I have no idea how he feels about aggressive builds, how much he mixes up his strategy, if he's a super standard player or a bit more unorthodox. Got the pylon. Depot. pretty ordinary. Protoss with the gateway, not gonna scout, so we're gonna delay his scouting just a little bit, which personally I like. I don't think there's that much benefit to gateway scouting or, God forbid, pylon scouting. It's just rarely worth it. Oh, he's gonna do a low ground barracks, so possible rack CC coming up. Be interesting to see. And we got a SCV coming out to scout, and there's no gas, so it is going to be rack CC. The reason I say that is the low ground barracks is incredibly common to do with rack CC, because if you don't bring that down and have some sort of wall, you're very, very vulnerable to the zealot harass, since your factory is going to be obviously incredibly delayed as you don't build gas until after the CC. So that helps allow for defending harass at the natural. And the question is he going to offer a harass zealot? It does not appear like he is. Nope. So it looks like straight into dragoons. It's an interesting depot placement. Now, if he makes a few dragoons, that depot, he's either going to have to put the bunker way out here, which is an awfully long distance to run to repair, or he's going to lose this depot. I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I may not be in love with that depot placement, but he may feel he needs the depot there for walking the zealots around to help SimCity him up to defend. We'll see where he opts to place the bunker. No Dragoon out yet, so the SCV is going to be allowed to just walk right onto the base. He's not started range, which Fozzik will note. Absolutely will note. You should be able to see it right now, does he? Yeah, okay, now he's going to see for sure, right? Okay, so he starts range, never mind. Not the fastest range in the world, but he does start range. And, okay, so Fozzik is going to build a bunker out of the front, so that will save his depot. And, you know, this is not bad. Oh, wow, he did not even hit the probe enough to whatever, but the SCVs pick a good time to come out, help to confuse the probe and allow it to be picked off. But the downside to a bunker out here is under threat of a lot of harass. It is just a long run to pull the SCVs. So if your reactions are not spot on, this becomes a very dangerous bunker positioning. Now, it's one gate Dragoon. In fact, he's not even making Dragoons. He's going straight for a Nexus, so it's not going to be an issue at all for Fozzik in this particular game. But something to be aware of when you're choosing what to do as far as building placements. Just be aware that building a bunker that far out, you better hope Protoss isn't going to do something surprisingly aggressive, and you better be on top of your reactions to have the bunker out here. Because, again, if you are too late and don't respond quickly to like an extra 2 Dragoons arriving or an SCV snipe round or 2, you'll lose that bunker in a heartbeat. And, oh, Fozzik's going to do the... Or, no, never mind. Grissy's going to try to do a similar thing to what Fozzik did. He's going to go, like, 1 or 2 Dragoon double Nexus. Yeah, two Goon double Nexus. It'll be interesting to see if Fozzik scouts it. But this is very greedy from Protoss. And it opens Protoss up to some early timings. Like, there's no chance Fozzik can hit with what you'd call a standard timing attack, like a 5-fact would just get smashed by this. But if Fozzik were to do like fact CC fact, or if he does 4 facts skipping eBay and Academy, this would be extremely dangerous. So I mean, this is always risky by Protoss. If he gets all this up unmolested, he'll be in a good spot, but he definitely has to be weary of Fozzik sniffing it out and coming with something super aggressive. But we can see Fozzik is getting an Academy, so it's not going to be like 4-fact skipping everything, which I believe it is not even possible to defend. I don't think with one gateway you can defend a 4-fact like that. And please don't do this. If you're going to expand quickly to a 3rd base, don't make a forge. Like, you're in a dangerous and precarious position already, taking the base that fast. The last thing you want to do is waste minerals investing on static defense. You can defend vultures with dragoons. Just the cannons You know, a forge and 2 cannons is already going to delay your gateways a lot. It's going to cost you several dragoons at a point where every unit really truly does matter. Okay, so Fuzzik is not going to play that greedy. He may not even sniff this out. You know, I don't think the SCV came over to this Nexus. Oh, this is... Oh, I hate to see that. I think it's going to be okay for him because Fuzzik doesn't look like he's going to be aggressive, but oh, you're already being so greedy. I mean, he's got 1 gateway. He's got 3 dragoons. That's all he's got for units, and he's building 2 cannons. Just, no, it's not worth it. Plus, these 2 cannons are in bad positions, honestly. Like 6 vultures, just run the vultures back here. Yeah. Now he's going to start adding a few more gateways finally. But Fuzzik is already adding his 3rd factory. He's bringing 2 tanks back. I guess, yeah, he obviously doesn't know the 3rd base is there. If he had scouted the 3rd base, he would not be worried about the possibility of some sort of Reaver or shuttle drop. But he might find it now. We can see some scans going off. And all of a sudden, Grissy is going to gateway explode. Going to head up to 6 gateways. I'm still curious if this base has been scanned, but it is up and running. We can see that one thing that's obvious is that Fuzzik's, well, I guess that's not so obvious. Fuzzik did get the natural faster. I was going to say, the fact that his SCV production is close to Grissy's probe production meant that Fuzzik was outproducing him pretty bad, but Grissy's only had the chance to produce like 1 probe from 3 nexuses, whereas Fuzzik has been happily producing from 2 CC for quite a while, well before Grissy got this nexus and this nexus up. But Grissy will, with good production, continue to pull ahead in probe count for sure. See, Fuzzik is doing a bit of a cut, and I think he's getting ready to move out with an attack. Oh! Oh shit, I didn't even see he was doing that. Well, he's not really doing that. He just did make a medic, and probably got range. Which, you know, normally I wouldn't think that's a big deal, but again, remember how much he's skimped on units? I mean, he's still got almost nothing. Like, he might have a round out. He's going to have a round out. He's got like 8 gateways now. So he is going into some serious mass production, which is the only thing that gives him a chance to hold off Fuzzik's army. But this is a pretty big army from Fuzzik. I mean, if Grissy can buy enough time, he'll crush this, but I don't know if he can. And if Fuzzik had played like 4-fact, skipping Academy and eBay, I mean, Fuzzik would have already been hitting with an army almost this size, but a minute faster. And Grissy would have been straight up dead. But I mean, Fuzzik's just... Grissy has no idea this is coming. Fuzzik is getting perfect positioning. Grissy only has dragoons. I just think it's another case of he was caught totally with his pants down. Oh, this is a bad run forward of dragoons. That was actually a nice snipe on the mine. It doesn't turn out quite as disastrous, but let's face it, he's already been forced up the ramp. There is a perfectly sieged Terran army at his doorstep. Fuzzik's got a tank in range of... Actually, he's got multiple tanks, I think, that are in range of the natural nexus. Definitely has at least 1. We'll see if these are. It's close. I guess they just aren't quite, but look at this army. I think Grissy is pretty much out. Oh, one of these mines going off would be really bad too. But let's face it, he already lost the natural, so now it's already an equal game to Fuzzik. And Fuzzik, of course, has 5 factories, and since Grissy is forced up his main and making only dragoons, in fact, right now he's not making anything, there's no way for him to get down. These 2 dragoons are going to obviously get picked off, and now Grissy is stuck up the ramp in his base. Fuzzik is going to go kill this base off. There's no chance, and Fuzzik pretty much takes the game just like that. You can't let that happen. Cannot let Terran just walk to your base and have no idea what's going on. I mean, that was so stress-free from Fuzzik. There was no delaying. Fuzzik was allowed a perfect position. And just that's never a situation you're going to win unless you're so hilariously ahead. He gets 1 bomb off, which is good, but oh man, these mines, holy shit. Softening his dragoons up. He's trying to break out. He actually hasn't quite lost this nexus, but he is losing all of his mining. He's on 1 base of mining right now. So even if he were to clean up this army, which it's not looking good for, especially with these slow zealots, he'd still be on 1 base economy, which is not going to get anything done. And there it is, GG. So yeah, 2 pretty solid games from Fuzzik. Honestly, as badly as he got beaten, it's obvious Grissy is a solid player, but he just made some some pretty critical mistakes. The first game basically allowing Fozzik to go unmolested with that insanely fast third CC, and in the other game, his big mistake was again just allowing Fozzik to happily push to his natural with absolutely no attempts to contest it. Nothing to slow him down, nothing to mess up his positioning. So yeah, 2 solid games from Fozzik. So, spawning in the top left-hand corner, I guess he is a Protoss. As the purple Protoss, we have Arubar from Dragon Herb. And in the bottom left-hand corner from teamn, we have Kix. Kix is a Terran player for teamn who has steadily improved. I remember there was a time, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, playing in leagues where he was sort of a rusty... D+ looking player, but he has significantly improved his play over the course of the past year or two, and especially in CPL here, has become much more solid as a Terran player. He's emerged into one of the league's generally better players. And Arubar is a player I don't know much about. I want to say he's not that strong of a Protoss. I want to say he's like kind of a D+ level Protoss, but I don't know for sure, and I could be wrong, so we'll just have to see what the games hold. Also, I'm not going to lie, it is really hot in here for casting. It's like 85 degrees in my apartment, and I can't run the fan while I cast because, yeah, you'll hear nothing but the fan in the mic. So you could say I'm sweating because of the intensity of these games. Pretty typical wall stuff for Kix, giving him gaps to micro against. And there is a gas on 11. And a very quick scout here from Arubar, a gateway scout. And Kix, I don't know if he does anymore. He used to play very, very heavy on like Vulture drops and plays like that because Fantasy is his big idol. And he loves to do stuff with vultures as a result. And he would also always play like vulture drop mech TVZ as well. But I think in the past year or two, his TVP has evolved and his TVZ have evolved, become a little bit more complete, and not just I'm gonna do this one opening until it works. And he's learned how to play a wider variety of styles. So here comes the factory for Kix. And these guys are going to say hi to each other. Will either of them attack? Nope. Just going to walk on by. It looks like neither of them were paying attention, although honestly you'd still have to come check the base if you were Arubar, as you don't know if he's leaving from being located there or leaving from having already scouted there. Marine on that ramp trying to block it. With 2 Marines, it'll be a perfect block, so there's no chance for the probe to scout. We can see Kix has only taken 1 SCV off of gas, which is most often indicative of a strong FD. Should see that going down immediately. And strong FD, basically similar to regular FD, but instead of 1 tank, 6 Marines, and rallied vultures, you do 2 tanks, 8 Marines, and rallied vultures. Probe dies at the ramp. A little bit unfortunate. Nice to keep it outside the bridge so you can see when Terran moves out. But it's a much more scary attack if you are a 1-gate expanding Protoss. Like, 1 gate or regular FD can be held comfortably with 1 gate expand. Holding a strong FD with 2 tanks, 8 Marines with 1 gate is very difficult. It requires very solid control. So it's a dangerous build. Now it definitely does slow down your economy, so if 1 gate defends it, you are playing from a somewhat behind position. It's not quite as bad as getting your 2 fat crushed, but you're definitely not in a strong position. Whereas if you FD, even if your push does nothing, you're economically fine against a Protoss that opted to do 1 gate expand. So actually it looks like he just kept 2 on gas. I'm not sure why. My understanding is you take 2 off if you're doing FD, but it looks like he only took one off, and he is definitely doing FD because he's already moved into his vulture production. SCV going up to scout, bringing these dragoons back, but he should be aware of the fact that Kix is on the way out. Of course, the Nexus is down for Arubar, very standard 3-goon expansion. And Kix took a kind of break coming across the map, which is nice for Arubar. It buys him a little bit more time. But we'll see if we can get a good engagement here. That's not exactly what he wants. Now, if he can come in with these dragoons and snipe the tanks, but fighting like this is not good. And now he's getting dragoons split off from his main army, which is really not good. And now Kix can just move across here into the natural, and there's basically no dragoons out. This dragoon is going to die at first hit. If he could have soaked the mine, it would have been good. But there's going to be one dragoon to defend this, and Kix is definitely going to get some damage done. He doesn't need to be too aggressive going up the ramp. He can just rally vultures, mine up the ramp, and the natural nexus is going to go down for Arubar. And this is the nice side of FD. Not only does it give you map control, if Protoss makes some micro mistakes, you get way ahead from it. Oh, Arubar is not canceling this. A huge mistake from Arubar. It is obvious he's not going to save it, especially with that much Marine DPS. So he's lost his natural, and now Kix takes complete command of this game. I mean, this is, you know, when you get a kill like that, it's a huge advantage now. Protoss is going to have a Nexus that's just incredibly later than Terran's, and I mean, he wasn't even able to mine off that Nexus whatsoever. Wasn't able to produce any probes from it. And honestly, the mistake there from Arubar was he had his Dragoons really spread out, which allowed that to happen. You need to have your Dragoons... Oh, Kix is feeling very aggressive. He's actually just going to try to bust up the ramp and win the game right now. Laying some mines, trying to force those Dragoons off the ramp, and oh, those were actually really good mines. Oh no, he's having to pull the probes, and it is a good drill, but look at this Vulture over here, nicely positioned to just pick off probes, and he's not completing the drill, so now Kix is getting a massive number of probe kills as well. This game is just spiraling totally out of control at this point. These Marines walking behind the minerals, and GG is said. Kix using his FD to take the game 0 style. So, game 2 of Kix against Arubar. It looks like Arubar is opting to play on Circuit Breaker. So, spawning in the top left-hand corner as the orange-yellow Terran, we have Kix. And in the top right-hand corner as the white Protoss, we have Arubar. Interesting, apparently there are two clans, INS and IIN. I think IN... No, I forget what INN stands for. IIN. Or INS, to be honest. Somebody probably knows, but it's not me. So, Kix looking to take a 2-0. Can he pull it off? Arubar will definitely need better control and / decision making than we saw in that first game, or else he would just die to the FD again. And having seen the success of his FD, it'll be interesting to see if that inspires Kix to try a more aggressive opening like a strong FD or even a 2-factory. Because let's face it, I mean, he absolutely ran over Arubar. Ordinary openings, no proxies. Although honestly, Circuit Breaker is a map that's kind of hard to proxy on. There's a lot of unbuildable terrain. If you were going to proxy a gateway or something like that, best spot would probably be over here, although there's still a chance of it being scouted. I forget if you can build up here. You definitely can't build on any of the center, though, which is kind of hard. No center gates allowed on this map. Probe heads out for Arubar. And we should see a gas. There's some gas. A little bit idle probe there. That's a really tricky probe, though. If you're probing good, the same time you take the gas is like the exact same moment the probe pops. So you have to like either get that probe right as it comes out or make the gas, or else the probe sits there. It's a tricky one to be like beautifully, flawlessly, the probe pops out from the Nexus perfect kind of thing. Usually the best you can do is like rally the probe to the mineral, and then the second you have 100 minerals, build that gas, and then shift select and send them back. It's the closest you can come to optimizing that 11th probe that pops out. Marine on the way for Kix. And factory goes down. And probably second depot. Yep. Be pretty weird if it was anything other than a second depot. Putting that core there, which if done right can marginally optimize your gas mining. It'll make your workers travel a slightly more efficient path. Making that first Dragoon, we're going to start range, so Arbar looking to play reasonably standard-ish. Of course, you could always transition into the 2 gates, kind of like we saw Evil Eye doing. And he might, given, again, how last game went, he might be wanting to do something a little bit safer. Out of nowhere, someone says APM isn't that important. I guess that depends on what you're talking about, what the situations are. Having good mechanics is pretty powerful. It's not everything, but you know, it's an important part if you want to be a complete, well-rounded player. You can't be horrible mechanically. It's one of those things where, you know, if you're trying to make it to say B-, you can make it to B- off of pure mechanics. You can make it to B- off of pretty crappy mechanics and really good knowledge and decisions. You can make it to B- off both of those being kind of bad, but having some really aggressive builds that you are phenomenally good at controlling, you know. But like everything else, if you start talking about really getting to high skills, then of course you need everything to be a complete player. In the same way that if you're trying to be a great golfer and you are a crappy driver of the golf ball, you could still play pretty good golf, but you'll certainly never play golf competitively at the top level if you can't hit solid long tee shots. That's probably the best analogy for the value of APM or mechanics. Of course, as it is real-time strategy, there is definitely a base level of mechanics that is necessary. I mean, if you're too slow, you absolutely won't be able to do anything useful, and you'll just be bad. But that level of mechanics is not that high. Honestly, you know, as we've seen from players like Evil Eye, if you have, you know, 80 to 100 APM, you can be pretty effective. Oh, this is a nice little positioning of the goons here from Arubar, right on the high ground. So this is a horrible fight for Kicks to pick, and that should pretty much send that FD limping home. Unless Arubar gets a little greedy and the Vulture slips around. I'm surprised to see Kicks continuing to push forward with this, as these Dragoons are in good health, although I'm also disappointed to see Arubar not sniping the tank. Like, taking extra tank shots while trying to kill a Marine is not good. You know, basically the rule of thumb is if you can dive on the tank without eating a ton of Marine shots, dive on the tank. Way better. Then you can just micro back from the Marines at your leisure. Otherwise, if the Marines are right up next to the tank, you don't really want to take a shot at all. And you want to wait for those Marines to be a little bit separated from the tanks so you can get a shot off on the Marines with your Dragoons while not taking any tank shots. If you consistently eat tank shots and only hit Marines, you will generally lose the FD with 3 goons to the FD, and if it's particularly bad, you can lose 4 goons to the FD if you never get a good shot off. Now, in practice, most Terrans don't control that perfectly, and you'll get some good shots off. Strong FD, totally different ballgame. You can lose that with 6 Dragoons unless you're getting really, really, really good shots. 8 is usually you can just kind of roll over a strong FD. So we've got an Academy coming up from Kicks. Obviously he's got his expansion. Should be transitioning into a reasonably stable middle game. Now that's interesting. That is interesting. Because he's made that before OBS. Now I want to see if he's going to make Zealots, because if he doesn't make Zealots, then I'm not understanding the decision. A shuttle is a great tool to have, but you know, if you're not planning to use it for anything, which seems to be the case in the near future, then delaying your OBS for it, delaying your ability to scout Terran, to react to Terran, is suboptimal. There's just no reason to do that. So I do not like this. Well, okay, if he's going to use the... oh, he's not. Okay. Unless he's going to scout with the shuttle, but that would be pretty weird. Or just some sort of fake bulldog or something. But as a general thumb, to get that shuttle first, there's just no reason to get it that fast. Now he's delayed his OBS by 20 or 30 seconds, and it gives him that much longer to know how to respond well to what Kicks is doing. Who we can see is preparing for the potential of a drop, has a few tanks back up in the main base. Of course, no such drop is coming. And I don't know where... Oh, never mind, the obs is out. So he can clear these Dragoons, but he doesn't have an obs headed over the Terran base yet, which isn't ideal. I mean, it's good to clear mines, but a lot of times it's better to just clear a few mines that are in your initial path as the obs heads there, and then wait for that second obs to clear out the mines, because you really do want to see Terran's factory count and try to get some feel for the game plan that Terran's going to pick, as that does heavily dictate your build choices as a Protoss. Alright, Vulture's going to get picked off. Kix tries to slip in, but isn't able to. Nice little mine clearing over here from Arubar. You can see the armory coming up, and with just 3 facts already at this point, it's looking like Kix is just going to go ahead and play for basically an expansion, third base oriented build here on Circuit Breaker. And of course, Circuit Breaker is a lot more open than Fighting Spirit. It also has a lot more bases, but that openness, it's definitely a map that lends itself much more to Vulture Harass than FS. FS is a very easy map to defend most types of harass on, whereas Circuit Breaker is quite a bit more open, a lot more places you have to worry about for Vultures traveling, and if you're not as good with your Dragoon positioning and your building placements, you can get run pretty ragged by Vultures here if the player is good at using them. And of course, the best Terran players, not only are they good at finding little holes to slip Vultures into, they're really good at moving their Vultures around and basically pulling your army out of place and then hitting those weak spots. Pylon Wall will finish in time. You could come down here and snipe the probe, but we can see the third base is almost up right now from Arubar, who has gone to 5 gateways. He's getting his leg speed upgrade. No sign of further tech, though. And a few Dragoons are going to come in here, clear out the mines at Kix's 4th. And where is Kix's third base? This is interesting. He's going up to 5 factories now. This is a pretty late 5 fact, if this is indeed going to be a timing. Although it's nice that he's gotten in here on top of this Nexus. He's going to be able to harass it with those 2 Vultures, force the Dragoons back. And if they rush back like this, he will lose a Dragoon or 3 in the process. Oh, just barely disables that mine. And, okay, so he definitely eats some mines. Obviously, he's going to get this cleared up. Needs to have a probe transfer there soon, or else it's not really going to be an effective third base. And it looks like Kix is just going to play off those 5 factories. Be nice to see a round of Zealots to shuttle bomb with, but he might just be waiting for that leg upgrade to be about half speed. The next wave should be Zealots, and indeed that is what is queued, which is good. And to be honest, I mean, he should throw down a few more gateways, Arubar should, but to be honest, this is a little bit weird decision making by Kix. The armory doesn't really make sense in concert with 5 factories, because you're delaying those factories a lot for no real reason. I mean, if you're going to play 5 factories, the entire point of that is to go kill Protoss's third, keep him on 2 bases, where you can be comfortably ahead from as a Terran player and win. But if you delay your factories that much, your upgrade, your +1 won't even be done. You've delayed your factories heavily, and it just makes your push not strong. I mean, look at the size of Arubar's army and the timing of this. You know, Kix could have had the same army out a good solid 2 minutes before. You can hit 9 minutes pretty comfortably for a 5-fact timing. And while he does have a decent tank count, his overall army is very small and is definitely in danger of getting run over here by Arubar. Now, Arubar does need a few more Zealots before he engages this. If he just runs in with these Dragoons, he would need some unbelievably good Dragoon spreading and control to bust this up. And now Kix is moving out on the map. He's going to go ahead and take a third base, at least I hope so, which if he is doing, I really like that he's doing that. He's kind of probably realizing that, hey, this timing attack isn't going to work, and he's just going to, oh, he's actually going for it. Oh, these tanks are so far in front too. This is a very bad position for Kix. He's got to be so careful. But he does get a good setup, and will Arubar go for it? Yes, but it is horribly coordinated, and that helped Kix a lot. Remember, Arubar has not added gateways yet, which I don't think is a good thing. He's got this shuttle that he's not even using, but he's only on 5 gateways. So while he had army superiority, if this continues, and especially if he throws a few units away, Kix, who's working off those 5 factories, actually now he's off 6, he will pull ahead in army, which will become a huge problem for Arubar, and that might even be Arubar's undoing, because certainly well, actually, this is the reason for Arubar's problems. In an ideal situation right now, you'd be sitting on, well, actually, just to show the difference in what's possible, Arubar sitting around 100 supply right now. A Protoss at this timing could be maxed, and Arubar took a pretty fast third base in concert with this. So why is Arubar sitting at 100 supply and not maxed? Well, this tells 90% of the story. He's got 35 probes. Kix has 67 SCVs and he's not even finished his third base. Arubar's had 3 Nexus and has half Kix's probe count. He has more or less lost this game. This is the reason why he's got 3 bases and he's macroing out on 6 gateways. Because 35 probes just doesn't cut it. You got to have consistent probe production up till like 120 supply or so. You're looking for about 65, 70 probes, and the only time you'd want to cut those probes is if you take a fast third and you see Protoss or Terran is 5 or 6 facting you, then sometimes you can do a quick probe cut just to throw up gateways and get, 7 or 8 gateways up, and then you need to immediately start making probes again. But because he's made no economy, he just doesn't have anything. He can't afford to, and I have a feeling at this point Kix is more or less going to run him over. There's the possibility Arubar wins this engagement, but I mean Kix has a better economy with 2 bases than Arubar is going to have with 4 because he's got double the SCVs. And yeah, there's a point where you reach more or less saturation, which, the increase from 1 worker to 2 per patch is very significant. The increase from to 3 per patch, nice DTs though. These DTs could be a problem. Could be a problem. Kix definitely needs to scan. They're actually doing quite a bit. There we go. So just pick that up. Now, the fact that Kix is sitting out here, I do like the DTs from Arubar. That's a smart decision because, remember, the middle of the map is unbuildable, and Kix only has 2 bases work, so he's got no scans right now, in fact. So if Arubar kept bleeding in DTs, he can bait off all the scans, and Kix is not laying enough mines for this to work. So, yeah, these DTs, if he keeps making them, which he's unfortunately not, okay. It would have been cool if he kept making them. He could have burned a lot of scans. And for Kix, the one thing that's worrying me a little bit, although he's so far ahead, economy it almost doesn't even matter if he kills a third, is the fact that he's kind of just sitting in the middle of the map, which when you're against a 3-base Protoss, at least if you're against a normal 3-base Protoss, sitting in the middle of the map will lose you the game. It just gives Protoss free time, and Arubar, he does get a nice spread of his army, but will it be enough? I don't know. Actually, this engagement is going pretty well, but that was really nice reinforcing vulture timing. So he's going to clean up the army of Arubar. And let's not forget, Kix is on the similar fat count to Arubar. Kix macro is starting to suffer just a bit, mostly because he hasn't added those additional factories to support that. He should be on 8 or 9 factories by now. Doesn't have that. But Arubar is bleeding in units. These DTs are great. Again, there's always the danger Kix runs out of scans if he doesn't make it across the bridges in time, but he can just go here, siege this base, lay a shit ton of mines, more or less blocking the DTs eternally, and finish off this. And now Arubar is going to be just on 2 bases. He's added a few probes, but it's not going to matter because he's going to lose this base and the 10 probes there, so he's going to be back on that horrible economy. And now it's only going to be spread out amongst 2 bases, which is pretty much as rough as it gets. And again, he just can't match Kix's production. He's only got 6 gateways. Kix has 6 factories. He's going to 7, but he's got 6 factories, and that's just not a position where Protoss is likely to beat Terran from. Now, I like this move. Kix is putting all his energy into denying the 3rd base, so sneaking around with some Zealots is great, but Kix is pretty well prepared for this. He's got good mines, and pure Zealots by themselves is not that scary. It's something that should be handled pretty well and pretty easily once Kix knows what's going on. Honestly, he could just divert some vultures across the map if he wants to, and those will get over there. And now we can see that probe count for Arubar is going to drop back into the low 30s. And now here come the Zealots. They've absorbed a few mines. They will immediately pick that off. And I mean, sure, Kix is going to find this a bit annoying, but I don't think he'll be overly stressed out about this. He's just going to pull a few SCVs. He's actually down to like 1 Zealot. He's splitting them up a little bit, but he's lost his 3rd base. This base isn't actually doing anything, and Kix is more or less storming his way across the map to a win. Probably should stop this Zealot from going to town in the main base. In fact, Arubar is about to be out of money. Actually, never mind. He's got so few probes. Like, if you look at this, Kix is already... This shows you the difference this probe count makes. Kix is mined out his main, and he's pretty close to mining out his natural. Arubar has more in his natural and more in his main than Kix realistically has in his natural. So that just goes to show the difference that saturation makes. Kix had more like 3.5 SCVs per patch. Arubar had 1.5 to 2, and just no way to match the mining speed. Kix gonna go finish off the 4th base, and then I think he will start working his way across the bridges. This is a pretty interesting composition for Arubar. I guess maybe he's running out of money or something. He could be running low, although he's still mining from his 2 bases. So Kix has finished that off. Scans up there, there's nothing. And what will Arubar do? He stopped making Dragoons though, which means this army has like no way to fight mines. This Archon is going on quite the journey though. And here we go, eating a lot of initial mines, should more or less evaporate these units. And I guess he's going to do one more counterattack, but I mean, let's face it, with no Dragoons in here, these Vultures are just going to slaughter this as long as he doesn't eat too many storms. And he could just lay a bunch of mines and make it impossible for this army to even get across the map. It's pretty strange. Alright, so I guess Arubar is going to charge into these Vultures. Now these storms are going to wreck these Vultures if Kix doesn't spread them out a little bit. Sieges up the tank. I mean, these were money storms. But look how soft this army from Arubar is. You know, the DTs running around are annoying. But he's almost killed all of the melee units involved in that army, despite Arubar hitting insane storms on the Clump Vultures. All he's got left is 4 Templar now. And he is making a shit ton of Templar. Trying to spend that gas, I guess. It's like he's playing, it's like I'm watching PvZ right here. But unfortunately, a Archon-heavy army doesn't fight well against Terran, and it gets ridiculously bad once there's vessels to EMP the Archon shields, because then they become 10 health units. I bet he's got EMP too. Watch him EMP this, and turn these Archons into the ultimate useless paperweights. He's loading up a shuttle. And honestly, Kix could just sit at the front door. He could siege up too. I mean, he can play this however he wants. It's not really winnable from Arubar at this point. There's no sign of Arbiter tech. That is some really awkward gateway placement. I don't even know what would happen if you make Dragoons there, unless there's actually a thin aisle to walk out of there. Oh man, EMP the Archons, man. Just EMP that shit. Yeah, it's not gonna matter. And there we go. GG. Kix takes the 2-0 win over Arubar. And that completes a win for teamn. And that will be all we have for games today, since there was one walkover in the set. So I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time.